probably Bournemouth away. I mean, I only scored 3, so
yeah.
I've not really got a massive collection to choose from. But I'd say Bournemouth away just because of the game. Obviously, it's a big team we're playing. We're away from home, and yeah, it was a winner as well. So I came back into the change room after that game so buzzing, and I seen a lot of nice messages and people buzzing that would be a team that a lot of people would say we're a Premier League team. So
yeah.
And it was a good finish, to be fair. Like I've turned out and put it onto my left foot and just put it into the bottom corner. So yeah, I'd probably say the Bournemouth away one.
And you think against a team like Bournemouth, like you said, they've got so much talent in that squad and so many millions that squad is worth, and they're obviously down to 10 men. I guess at half time it was kind of like, we could go out and win this.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, obviously getting the man sent off is a massive confidence booster for us. And to be fair, I thought we was doing pretty well in the game anyway, but that is just an extra incentive, you know, on to go on and win the game. And we had a couple of chances before I scored, and we could have maybe been 1 or 2 up. So I think on the balance of the game, we definitely deserve to win. And as you say, it's a massive achievement for knowing the difference in budgets that both teams have.
Yeah.
And we did that against a lot of teams. We beat quite a lot of the top teams in the league this season. So it just shows like how competitive we were.
I remember that Bournemouth game and watching your performance, and that's the day if I recall your performance, I could almost see a bit of like David Silva in your play. Do you ever do you look at other players like, I don't know, even like David Silva? Would you like base your style on another player?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I have to be fair. Like, it sort of switched. Like I've always said since I was a kid, and my idol always will be Paul Scholes. Mm-hmm. Just for the way he was and the way he played, I thought he was unbelievable. But looking more like to now, it's like them sort of players, David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, like the creative midfielders that just love to like pass and dribble and get the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And David and they're the lads that I sort of watch YouTube videos on and learn little tips off, because they're the best players in their generation. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely.
I think it was one of them. A few times in that game where you're just on the ball, your left foot, these like small little turns, and I was like, mate, Bournemouth can't deal with you. You're running the show. Yeah. You could have probably scored quite a few more goals though as well. In the derby, the Watford game, you've had one that's just gone inches past the post, but you probably could have had quite a few more, just if maybe luck was on your side.
Yeah, I feel like I could have. To be fair, there was a couple of good opportunities that I had that just missed and stuff, and even a couple more assists. I feel like I was a bit hard done by with my assists at the end. But it's sort of as football at the end of the day, innit? It's all about keep plugging away, and then hopefully the rewards will come. But I was just happy to contribute in a lot of other ways as well. You know what I mean? Like try and dictate play and create chances for the team, and I was just happy that I was able to show that to the rest of the fans. You know what game I did really enjoy, because 1, we had the fans there, and 2, it was a big scalp. It was Norwich at home.
Yeah.
As I say, look at what Norwich went on to do. They went on to win the league pretty comfortably, and they came to Kenilworth Road, and from minute 1 we were just on it. And as I say, 1 of 2 games this season where the fans were there. It was 1,000 fans, but it felt like 5,000-10,000.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a great win, and it was like my first experience of the Luton Town fans in the flesh, and I was just like, wow, yeah, fantastic. It was one of them great nights, you know what I mean?
It's one of them things as well. When you look back at this season, there's so many games that you could probably select as your favourite one, and there are some obvious ones, like obviously the Watford game. But would you say that Norwich one for you is the one you look back on and you think, performance-wise from the squad, performance-wise from yourself, everything just was perfect, wasn't it?
Yeah, everything clicked that day, I think, and sometimes you just get them games in football where, I don't know if it's the occasion, whatever it was, the team we was playing, it just clicked, and it was just a great night. We scored some great goals, and it was just a fantastic night to be a part of.
Yeah.
So that one sticks out in my mind, and even like the Bournemouth aways, and like even the games where we might not have won. Like I remember, like we played Birmingham at home, and I remember personally having a really good game, but we battered them, but we just couldn't get another goal. And so, yeah, like as I say, there's been a lot of good moments this season, so it is pretty tough to pick out one.
And when you go from playing in an empty stadium for half the season, or wherever it was, quarter of the season, to having the fans back, obviously you said a minute ago how it felt like there was more than 1,000, but what's the difference between playing with no fans and fans? Is there less pressure when there isn't fans in the stadium, do you think?
Yeah, I'd probably say there is. Yeah, it's a weird feeling. I can't lie. I mean, a couple of years ago, I was playing 23s football, and it felt like I was going back to playing that.
Yeah.
And it's weird because there's certain situations of the game. For example, like you're on top of a team and you're trying to keep that momentum, and with fans there, like they're riling you up, and you keep going forward. And without fans, it's like it's tough to do it on your own. And even when you're like maybe you're in a bit of a slump in a game, fans bring you up and fans give you that boost to like push on, and you don't have that, and it's just like it's a weird feeling. But I suppose for some players it's good because they might not feel the pressure of fans if it's not going as well.
Yeah.
But for me, no, it's all about the fans. Like I don't like not playing in front of fans. I mean, it's good that I'm happy that they was able to watch online, but it's just not the same when they're not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess I've heard you online speak about the Watford game, and obviously the history the clubs have and the derby. That's one that fans would have loved to have been there. And I feel like we can't not talk about it because everyone wants to hear about the Watford game. But going into that, obviously I hate to say it, you know, they're a good team. They've got some good players, and again, millions of pounds worth of players, and they've obviously got promotion this season. But for us to go against them and dominate them like we did, you know, that's an unbelievable thing to do. Yeah,
100%. That was one of them games from minute one. I remember someone made a tackle, and I was just like, okay, we are on it here, and I don't think they expected that. And maybe they came there with a bit of swagger, thinking, we'll just come and play. But I knew, even as a player on loan, how important that game was building up. Yeah. We was really, really like on it, and we knew how important it was for us and the fans. So to get that that for me was the best 3 points of the season because I knew how much it meant to the club.
And do you think it helps as well, like you having someone like Mick Harford there to drill it into you of how much it means, and Gary Sweet telling you how much this means, that maybe we wanted it more than Watford, and that is why they struggled to get going or get any rhythm in the game?
Yeah, spot on. Like Mick's obviously a legend at his club, and he does talk to us a lot behind the scenes, and he's really good with that. And he was telling us the importance of it. Really, he's been there and he's done it at the level, and he was just like, lads, this doesn't come around often. Like, you need to just go out and make a name for yourself and write your name in Luton history. So that was what the lads' mentality was into the game was going, and we was just at the end we was just so happy, and Mick was so happy, and the whole club, and it was just such a nice feeling, you know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, it was a great day. I think I was on the beers from like 9 in the morning. I was down the Wetherspoons having a breakfast. It was such a good day.
My first impression of Mick Harford, I was like, okay. My first impression was, wow, he's big.
Yeah.
Even like he's getting a bit older now, but he's still really like big and broad. And I thought, when you were in your prime playing football, you would have been a handful.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have probably wanted to mark you. So I was thinking, yeah, that's the first impression I had from him. And then as well, like the nicest guy ever, like a teddy bear. Like he's obviously a really big name, but you would never know that he's so humble. Yeah, which is a good thing about him.
Does he ever lose his temper, Mick Harford?
Yeah, like he's got that switch. If players aren't on it or players are not training how they should be, like he's got that switch, which is good because we know how nice he is, but then we know like you don't take any liberties with him because he will tell you how it is, you know what I mean, which is a good balance to have.
And obviously he's had a great playing career as well, and I've heard Elijah talking on social media recently about how he gets, you know, a few bits of tips and stuff from him. Would you say, has he given you any good advice in the last year?
Yeah, he's given me some great advice. He was one of the guys that was watching me when I was playing at Leicester, and I knew that he came to a lot of games, so he's a big reason for me coming to Luton because he had that belief in me. So he would always give me tips and just sort of tell me to just go out and express myself, which for me as a player is probably the best thing to say because that's when I play my best. It gives me the confidence. And even like your point about Elijah, me, Mick and Elijah have done so many sessions after training about as a midfielder linking up with a striker and the movement. So he was just a great help in all of that, and I hope that we could have shown a bit of that with me and Elijah on the pitch, and it's just a shame that we only got a couple of months to play together. Ooh, You know what? I actually got close with a lot of the lads. You know, I'd probably say. Well, it was tough because from when I signed to January, I was living with Reece, Norrington Davis.
Yeah. And
obviously we know what happened with Reece, but I got really close with Reece and we did everything together. And then from January to the end of the season, I lived with Cal Naismith.
Yeah.
And honestly, Cal Naismith's one of the best guys I've ever met. Like,
what's he like? Because he does just he's. You don't really see much personality on the pitch of him. Obviously, there's that clip on Twitter of him shouting at you when he plays that ball.
Yeah.
But what's he like?
He's one of the funniest guys I've ever met.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, obviously he's really Scottish and he's got really good like witty one-liners, and it's just like you just look at him and laughing your head up because you're like, it's just hilarious. Like, I can't describe what he is because it's his own humour, but he's one of the best I've ever met. And even people like Harry Cornick, George Moncur and Glenn Rea, they were all just really, really good with me, and I would consider a lot of them that I would be friends with for quite a long time and the rest of my life.
Do you reckon there's people like that and you are going to just stay in touch with them for the rest of your career?
Definitely, I'll definitely stay in touch with the people I've said, and even people like Sonny, who sort of took me under his wing as a skipper and gave me good guidance. And everyone really, like, obviously you're not as close with everyone, but I had a great relationship with every player in the team, and I could easily message a player for any advice in the future, and I know that they'd give me honest answer.
A name you hear a lot about being such a good character around the dressing room is Pelly Radakampanzu. What is what is he? I just assume Pelly is just a laugh every single day at training. Is that the case with him?
Yeah, like I didn't even need to mention him because he's already got that reputation. Yeah. Like, everyone knows what he's like, so he's not even worth mentioning because you've seen snippets of videos of Pelly. He's so loud and he's so good for the dressing room because he's got a great banter, great character, and he's just obviously he's been there a while, and he's like the stain that he keeps everybody together. He sorts out the little groups to bring everyone together in the club, and he's just a fantastic person up in the dressing room. And it was a pleasure to play with him as well because he's a really good player. I'd go home and I'd maybe go and play some golf or go into the garden. I'm really big on my golf. Yeah, I like playing golf. Yeah.
How long have you been doing that for?
Since I was a kid, but I stopped until lockdown, and then I got into it again. With the thing is with golf, when you get the bug, it's dangerous. Like you're playing all the time. So I'd probably say just go and play golf because there's nothing really else to do. What we was doing because of lockdown and that, either golf or just relax, watch Netflix and chill with the lads, really.
We spoke to George Moncur over Christmas time, and he said normally after training he'd go play some darts with Jordan Clark. Did you ever get involved with any darts?
Yeah, I was part of the darts crew.
Any good?
To be fair, I'm all right. George Moncur is very good.
Yeah?
George Moncur and Jordan Clark always, every morning, used to play before training, and I'd sometimes get involved, but we have a pool table as well, and that's more my game. I would easily say I was the best at pool at the club.
So like a Luton Town pool competition or golf competition, you reckon you're taking the #1 medal for that?
I'd definitely take the pool competition. The golf one, George Moncur plays off about 4, so he's...
Oh wow, is there anything he can't do, literally?
I know, George Moncur,
he's just become a dad as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got another little one now, so yeah, he's a jack of all trades, so he'd probably take the golf. But we had a golf trip day out a couple of weeks ago, and I did all right. To be fair, Mick and Kev did, and the goalkeeping coach are very good as well. I think they play a lot, so it's all good and fun and games. The one that springs off the top of my head, not direct opponent, but in terms of play, was Buendia. He was really clever, and to be fair, the partnership he had with Pookie was very impressive. Like, it was the same wavelength. When he got it, Pookie spun, and he was sort of like in, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And that was quick.
It shows because he's won Player of the Year for the Championship, isn't he? And he's you look at Norwich fans and their opinion on him. He looks the hell of a baller. Yeah,
I think it's a good example of he's a player at a club that's got so much confidence, got the backing of all his teammates, and as I say, that brings the best out of you as a player. So yeah, I'd probably say Buendia. In terms of midfielder,
played some all right players in the Chelsea game, didn't you?
Oh yeah, the Chelsea game. I'd probably have to give that to someone like Mason Mount. You see what he's doing at the moment.
I love that pic of you with Mason Mount on the floor. That's, mate, I'd get that frame, get it on your wall.
Yeah, I know. I might get the FA Cup shirt framed and then get that little picture at the bottom.
Oh mate, that was a hell of a day. At one stage, Harry Cornick nearly makes it 2-2, and you never know what happens from there. But for Chelsea to put out such a strong team as well, I thought we did all right. I
did as well. Like, obviously, the first 20 minutes was a bit of a shock to the system for the team, and we 2 down. But as soon as we settled and we started playing our football, we looked as dangerous as they did. And you mentioned the Harry Cornick chance. If he scores that, I personally think we go on and possibly win the game because the momentum's in our favour. And I think we gave a great account of ourselves that day, great account of Luton, and people realised, okay, Luton are a really good side. Yeah.
And you look at the third goal Chelsea score, and they've brought on Hudson-Odoi, and Tammy Abraham's the one who finishes it off. And you look at these players, and it's like sometimes you just got to hold your hand up and say, fair play. Like, look at the talent they've got on the pitch. Sometimes, it's just you can't do anything about it, pretty much.
Of course, at the end of the day, they are Premier League players, and they are very talented, and they've all got that good cohesion. So there's going to be times where they do break you down, and we managed to subside it for a while, but obviously they're going to get chances. They're a top team. You can see what they're doing now. They're in the final of the FA Cup and the Champions League.
Yeah. And for you personally, 40 odd games this season for Luton. In, let's be honest, a really hectic schedule, a crazy year with the pandemic. How have you found it, like, mentally and physically playing so many games, and especially in such close concession like Saturday, Tuesday?
To be fair, at the start, I was like, okay, this is pretty tough, because obviously before this loan, I'd only played 10 senior games. I'd been playing 23s, and everyone knows that that's not the same as playing senior football. So at the start, I was like, okay, this is pretty intense, and I had to adapt to it. But I got to a mid-stage of about 20 games where my body had fully adapted to playing every 3-4 days, and it was sort of in a rhythm, and I was like, oh, this is good. I'm recovering, playing, training, and by the end of it, I felt fresh. Like, touch wood, I had no injuries. I felt really good, and it was a shame that the season had to end, because I reckon I could have played another 40 games. Yeah, he's a fantastic gaffer. Like, I spoke to him before I left, and I just told him like how good he'd been for me and the team. He's got everything you need to be a top level coach. He's intense. He's tactically good. He reminded me a bit of Brendan Rodgers at Leicester, like, in terms of his intensity. Like, he never let anyone like stop or like switch off, and that's what brings the best out of players. You create an environment where you're all playing at a high level and you're concentrating, and that's what brings results. And I genuinely believe that he's going to build something special at Luton, because he is a really good guy. And for me personally, just as I said, he gave me the confidence to go and express myself, and that trust, and that's all you can ask for as a player, really. So yeah, what a guy, and I'm just thankful for what he did for me.
Would you say that him giving you that freedom to go and express yourself, has that helped you develop as a player this year?
Yeah, I would say that it's helped me develop as a player and as a person, in terms of just anything, like going out on the pitch and just trying different things and just learning different styles of play. And I know for a fact, from when I was at the start of the season to now, I'm a completely different player, and I'm better. So that's development at the end of the day, and that's what you ask for as a player, and I'm grateful. I can't thank the fans enough. You said about them 2 games, that was a pleasure to play in front of them, and it's just a shame that they're the only games. Like, the amount of messages I've had has been overwhelming, and I'm so grateful, and I genuinely do see every message, and like, it's sometimes tough to reply to all of them, but I see all the tweets and all the messages, and it's just such a nice feeling, because I said when I came to Luton, I want to make as good an impression as I can as a fan. So I want them to remember me and like appreciate what I've tried to do for the club, and they have, and they're an absolute credit to the club. And yeah, I've got not one bad word to say about them. So just whatever fans are watching this, I'm just a big thank you, really, because without you lot, the club done nothing, and yeah, you've been great.